So here we go. I'm just gonna jump right in. Little background. I'm gonna do a video. It's not gonna be the most perfect thing in the world, but I'd rather get it done than to procrastinate and not do anything about it, have months go by and not share this, which I actually did for my GoRuck Star course. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. So I'm just gonna jump right in to what this is. This is a AAR, I'll explain, after action review. That's like a military kind of term for a GoRuck event that I just completed recently on 2/16/2019. GoRuck Tough here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Tough class 2945. Met up with the light class in the middle, the light class being class number 3000. This was the Battle of the Bulge event, with the Cadre being Mike, or as they call him, Hot Mike. Start time started at the Art Museum stairs, 7 o'clock in the morning. Finish time supposed to be approximately around 1900, which would be 7 o'clock at night for you non-military types. Give you a little background on myself. I have been doing a couple of these GoRuck events now. Actually, to be more exact, I've done 5. I started doing them in 2016, got encouraged by a friend of mine at my job because he knows that I'm more of like an active kind of extreme kind of person. He said, hey, look, you might like these. And so I went out and did a GoRuck Tough, I believe it was in August or so of 2016 here in Philadelphia. Then took pretty much 2017 off, procrastinated a little bit. It's like, oh, is somebody else going to do this with me? Not. And then I was like, yeah, I'm not going to wait. And then last year, did 3 events, a GoRuck Heavy for 4th of July. That was interesting. Followed up by a GoRuck Light, I believe that was the Extortion one. And then did the 50-plus miler GoRuck Star course in Philadelphia. I think that was in October. That was interesting as well. So getting the itch to do more of these events because of what it offers, you'll see as we go through. And then signed up for my first winter time event because my other events were always in some sort of nicer weather. And signed up for February not knowing what to expect. The weather's been all over the place, so I was like, just screw it, I'm just gonna go do it. And then signed up for the Battle of the Bulge. Initial disclosure right here. Yes, I've been doing these events, I'm gonna share with you some of my experiences, but I'm also not gonna disclose a lot of the specifics about the events because flat out, I want the people to know the specifics if they sign up for it. I don't think I do GoRuck any favors if I say everything we absolutely did, because there needs to be some level of mystery or some level you need to just come out and find out for yourself. And especially since the Cadres all run the events differently, and I don't want one person to say, oh, you got off easy, or this was hard, or this was unsafe, or I don't know. I just don't want to deal with all that stuff. I'm going to give you an overview and some of the things that I've seen. And I'm also, yes, I'll give you more specifics about my learnings because I want people to learn from my mistakes that do these events, but also I think it's applicable for other things as well. And for the other classes that go through, especially in my city. So, that being said, jump right in. These GoRuck events, if you're not aware of what these events are, I mean, they're in line with Spartan races and all these other challenges, but these events are run by Special Forces military. This company, especially since this is my first video done on my channel like this, this company initially is producing backpacks, and they wanted to have events to show how tough their backpacks are. So they started making these events and say, okay, use our backpacks for these events, and then you'll see how versatile they are, how tough they are. Well, the events kind of took off, and the events actually started, in my opinion, started becoming bigger than the merchandise that they're setting to sell. And that's really what helped me. I mean, yes, their merchandise is a little bit expensive, I know, but I now sign up for these events and bring my makeshift stuff to it and just try to get through it. But I have learned a lot, I've grown a lot, and I appreciate it. So I highly recommend. They have different levels of it. They have scavenger hunts, little cool things for kids. They have, they just went through a Santa Rock that was kind of during the Christmas time. They have the main ones. They have a light, tough, heavy, and selection. That's a whole nother world, and they go for different hours and they do different things, and of course it goes from the easiest to the hardest. I'm not going to go too much into all that stuff. Just keep on watching the videos, and then eventually you'll understand what all of them are, because I've done a light, I've done a tough, I've done a couple toughs, I've done a heavy, and I've done a star course as well. Star course essentially mapping out and going from point to point in a set period of time and set distance. So, on to Battle of the Bulge, Philadelphia, 2/16/2019. Battle of the Bulge is a very known battle in World War II, Germans versus mainly the United States of America, and there's history behind it. And learning about that history and gaining a different appreciation is what I wanted to do going to this event, along with going with other people and learning with them in the process. My workout. You got to work out for some of these events. You cannot go into these things cold. I'm in somewhat pretty good shape, and I'm even learning things I have to do different in my workout strategy to make sure that I secure better success going forward in the future. So I wanted to focus a little bit more on upper body because I'm a smaller type person. I'm around 150 pounds, and I know I'm supposed to carry individual weight along with being responsible for team weight, so I wanted to make sure I carried my own weight. So I wanted to do a lot more upper body workout so I could do so. Found out that wasn't necessarily the greatest of plans, and I'll let you guys know why later on. But yeah, I've been working out, especially doing those 3 events last year. I've been working out nonstop pretty much every day since the middle of May 2018, so I thought I was pretty well prepared for a tough, especially since I performed a heavy event that took us 25.5 hours straight. Tough challenges are supposed to go for about 12 hours. My gear, my main gear, we had little stuff here, but I actually used this time a Pelican backpack. I'm going to put, as I update this video, I'm going to put some things into the description. But I use my Pelican backpack, which is actually in some compartments waterproof. Shouldn't have done that. I had to carry at least 30 pounds just in sheer weight, nothing extra. So I used a 20-pound ruck plate and a 10-pound ruck plate that was bought from GoRuck, the company. I bought a water bladder from Walmart. I initially thought it sucked. I learned more about that later. I went to Target to get a Nalgene bottle, 1 liter, full of Gatorade that I got from Wawa. Yes, I'm giving shout outs to specific companies. I'm not getting paid for it, not yet, but I like to let you know I'm a real person going to these real stores, and this is where I got the stuff from. I also got a headlamp. It's required for these events, regardless of daytime or nighttime, to bring headlamps. That's for safety concerns. I got my headlamp that I use for this from Cabela's. Those 2 big stores, one up in Hamburg. I haven't been to that one yet. Heard a lot of cool things about it. I went to one down in Delaware. It's really bright. And those are some of the main things that I brought. Right? The key is when you sign up for these events, bring everything on the list. Because you might not even think that you might need it or not. Somebody else might need it. But also dealing with whoever the Cadre, which is the Special Forces individual that's leading the event. If you don't bring everything, that could be considered what they call an infraction, which will cause you to have to probably do push-ups, sit-ups, you name it, whatever. You will make up for that. So part of even starting right is making sure you prepare right. So it's the equipment that you have and being able to be physically able. And that's just from the get-go. I mean, we haven't even started anything yet. So we met at the Art Museum stairs. It's a very popular place in Philadelphia. Of course, everybody's running up and doing the whole Rocky thing. Sure, I get it. You do the initial introductions, and everybody sees the Cadre, especially if our Cadre was Mike. They call him Hot Mike. He did some Marines and Air Force. He actually grew up in the area of Philadelphia, so this is home for him. So You're not going to fool him going around this area. I've had some cadres before that were not from Philadelphia, and it was a little off him, but Mike's from here, so he knows his way around. You do initial introductions, the cadre talks. If you don't know who he is, everybody kind of stares at him and goes, oh, this is the guy that's going to absolutely kick your teeth in. And then he verifies your inventory. And if your inventory is off, or if you don't follow instructions, that's just something that starts building in your day, things that you inflicted your own pain. That's all learnings. If you do not prepare for life, you will deal with the pain you caused yourself. Don't blame other people. They gave you a list. It's very clear. If you can read, you can prepare yourself accordingly. And if you choose not to, that's your fault, not theirs. Then you commence the event. So starting at the art museum stairs, like I told you, I'm not going to go into specifics because I want you to show up. I want you to practice. I want you to train with other GoRuck type people, and I would love to see you at events. But you can only imagine having those stairs, all the different kind of PT that you can do there. And that's exactly what you do starting off. The key to this, and this is one of my learnings, they will have you do things initially with this PT, especially with the welcome party that's going to come up shortly, to try to gauge where the class is at, where the individuals are at, but also where the mindsets are at. So let's say they had something you had to do as a team. Well, if you finish your portion of it early and you kind of just wait for the team, you might have finished their requirement in said period of time for yourself. But if the team doesn't finish in that said time, you still fail. And I think that was one of the initial learnings I specifically got from the get-go, that I normally have just like this military type, team mentality, but sometimes I need to be reminded as well that this is a team event. This is not an individual event. If you do everything great by yourself, but your team does not, it's still a failure. So you learn very quick, and it's instilled very quickly that you better be thinking about the team the entire time. Okay, there's only a few events that it's an individual, like in GoRuck Selection, which is like 48 hours long or something. It's ridiculous. Maybe one day, but that's instilled right there. And then from there, we performed a small movement to another area. A movement, you take all the people that sign up, I believe the initial class, a tough class, was about 18 people or so, and you move to another area. And in these movements, you can choose to just like kind of zone out, or you can choose to learn a lot. I mean, if you zone out enough, you're going to end up paying for it later because they tell you stuff that you better be paying attention to. But when you have these small movements, it's timed. And you think it's not that big of a deal, but in these events, they also want to ensure your safety. And that means using crosswalks and waiting for lights to change. I mean, I'm from Philadelphia, so I'm used to a car flying by, I can pretty much tap their tail light on the way, but part of probably like insurance reasons, but also part of learning how to deal in the confines of the rules that are given everybody. They might give you a time hack, a time requirement to get to a certain place in 5 or 10 minutes, but then you might be sitting at a traffic light for 2 minutes, which will then shorten your time. You might not be able to move your people effectively and efficiently in that period of time, which means that thing that you thought was so easy, you have a lot more to consider than you initially thought. So there is a lot of safety and efficiency you have to think about. And there's also leadership and navigation. You have to know where you're going, and you have to do it right, and you have to lead a people depending on who they choose to be the team leader at the time. You have to lead those people effectively, which when we go on a more significant movement came up as well on things that I've learned. So we went to this other place, did some roll call stuff, some accountability, some learning, because we start talking a little bit about what Battle of Bulge meant from the beginning, and as you go through the event, you kind of space out, this is the beginning of the Battle of Bulge, this is the setting that takes place. Of course, when you're in the middle, this is what was happening in the middle of the Battle of the Bulge, and near the end, this is how everything turned out. So in the beginning, you're learning about the initial setting of the Battle of the Bulge. and then you do something called a welcome party. And all these events have something called a welcome party, which, whew. Once again, this allows the cadre to understand what he's dealing with, but also allows for him to instill in other people the idea that this is not going to be a walk in the park. Yes, you paid money for this, right? But this is not going to be a walk in the park. This is not something that you just get handed to you because you paid money, you get a patch. You actually have to get through this, because if you don't get through this, you don't earn the patch. You don't. And you'd be surprised. This little patch that you get because of it, right? This little patch is, you actually look at it a little different when you endure through this mess. And other people that you see have this on, you kind of look at each other a little different. And the fact is that there's a standard. They're going to make you do all sorts of stuff, push-ups, sit-ups, 8-count bodybuilders, you name it, all sorts of stuff. And I'm not going to go into our specifics, but we had to do a lot of stuff. We'll tell you about one thing. Oh, gosh. But there's a standard. He tells you to do 10 push-ups with your ruck on your back, which means for me, I was carrying between like 35, 40 pounds or so, added to just my regular body weight. In a certain amount of time, in a certain way, and together as a group. If you don't do it, most likely you're going to be doing it again. If you don't do it that second time, most likely you're going to be doing it again. If you don't do that, most likely you're going to be doing it again until you get it right. There is no pass. It's either you meet the standard or you don't. And you'd be surprised or not surprised that in the beginning, I'm saying somebody paid their hard-earned money to test themselves, and in the beginning, this requirement that you knew existed will break individuals early, and people will quit. We had an individual, and I'm not here to make fun of those people whatsoever. Think about it. They signed up for it, so kudos to them. They're not sitting on the couch at all, watching YouTube videos. Haha, got it. But no, they're not sitting on the couch at all. They actually came out to challenge themselves. That to me, they get a certain amount of respect just for doing that. But then there's more to be required of you. And either you meet the standard or your team suffers while you don't. And an individual saw that the team was suffering because he wasn't able to make the standard that the cadre had. And we encouraged for the guy to stay, but it was way too heavy on him. And he even instead, he never quits anything in his life. But he didn't make it through in the beginning. And that's something to think about. And something that I know I take on myself and wonder what areas of my life either I've quit or I haven't made the mark, or in what ways have I caused the teams that I've associated myself with to suffer because I didn't pull my own weight, because I didn't meet the standard. So that was interesting. That was very interesting. Yes, the one part of PT I will share. It's probably the heaviest thing I've ever picked up nearly in my entire life. Yes, we had to pick up a telephone pole, like a legit big telephone pole. I have to mention this because the learnings I even got, this is the first time I've had to pick up a telephone pole like this. I won't tell you what we had to do with it, because we had to do stuff with it as well. That was interesting too. But the idea is, you ain't picking this thing up by yourself, and you're not just gonna muscle and go, oh, I can just do. No, you have to coordinate this. You have to talk with each other, and then when you get this thing up, we had this on our shoulders, and we had it on our shoulders. You can't afford to take off. Like, you can't let everybody else, like the other 17 or 16, whoever was still there, you can't say, oh, I'm not going to pull my weight on here, I'm going to let somebody else carry it. Because at some point, I think we all felt somebody else not necessarily pulling all of their weight. And I know when it was on my shoulder, and I literally felt somebody somewhere in the line, I can't call them out, and I'm not going to pretend like I was the biggest person there and strongest. Somebody let off a little bit, it could have been for like 2 seconds. I definitely felt it in my body and partially in my soul. Like, it just, my whole body went whoo, and like my whole like core just had to make up for that. So if you don't pull your own weight with this heavy stuff, like, other people will feel it. It's not a question whatsoever. And these events, that kind of stuff does happen where you end up picking up things like telephone poles. And And the cadre looks at everybody and makes sure that people are safe, but at the same time, he's there to push us. And that's exactly what we did there. So I will never look at a telephone pole the same ever again, because those things are heavy. Holy crap. Whew. So we get done with all that stuff, and you get in the dirt initially, and you get over, oh, I got here with all my new stuff, and they're asking me to be dirty. Yeah, they make sure that you get nice and dirty just from the get-go, and get over the pristine thought in your mind that you're going to be finish this thing with gleaming uniform and smiling. No, you're going to be dirty, you're going to get all jacked up, and you're going to do it as a team. So you get over that, and then you have a significant movement. We had a couple miles, we'll say. And you think it's just getting from point A to point B, but there's so much that you can learn during these movements. And especially, I know in one of these movements, I was designated as the team leader, and I learned a lot, even from being prior military, some things that either I unlearned being a civilian for a little bit of time now, or just didn't incorporate until I had to get reminded. These movements are supposed to simulate like military movements, so you're like in ranks with each other. We're carrying American flags all over the place. So yes, this is a pro-American event, and I'm proud to be a part of it. There is also weight added a lot of times with these movements, which might be anything from team weights that you have to bring, your own personal weight. I told you I'm just carrying between 35 and 40 pounds myself added on. I only weigh about 150 pounds, so that's pretty significant for me. Sandbags and whatever else the cadre sees around. Sometimes you're like, yeah, pick that up. That's part of our team weights now. That's always interesting. So you have that. You're also supposed to learn from your small movement. I already told you we had a small movement. We had to consider like safety and movement of a larger group of people, more than just yourself or 2 or 3 people. So you have to learn from that and how to navigate across the street, crosswalks, and road guards and things. Navigation considerations. Now this is Philadelphia, a place that I'm from. You have a lot of people from other places. Like we had some people from Maryland and Virginia and from New York, so this isn't home to them. Now of course the people from New York City, they know what it's like crossing busy streets, so they're not going to necessarily be flustered by crossing streets, but they still don't know Philly. Like there's parts of West Philly and North Philly. If you're not from Philly, if you don't understand the area, you don't go there, because you'll stick out like a sore thumb, and it's not good for you. So navigation considerations, like staying on the river is probably the safest bet if you're not from the area, if you're headed up that way. And major roads like Broad Street and Market Street, that's a safer bet. But you have to take that consideration, especially if you're from the area. You might say, hey, look, you might not want to go through Mantua. You might not want to go through Kensington. You might not want to go through if you're not from here. There are some movement tactics because these movements are timed. Like they'll look on Google Maps and say, okay, it takes a normal person, an hour to do this. You guys have 50 minutes, which means with weights, you have to navigate from point A to point B. But in doing so, and this is part of my learning, part about being a leader is not just getting your team from point A to point B. There is a delegation of responsibilities, because there's things that you have to be accountable for and to, like being close enough to that person in front of you to maintain that accountability, being able to touch their backpack in front of you. That's something that is required. You have to be able to assess what's going on with the different people in the team, because if somebody is struggling a little bit, you need to be able to give resources to that person, maybe take some weight off of them and not have them do some other things, so the team moves at a good pace, which means you need to be aware of how the team is actually doing. But also as a leader, you need to be able to have a big picture and an overview of what's going on. You can't be so in with every individual, which means you need to delegate responsibility, which initially I did not do well. I was trying to do too much and potentially even micromanaging certain things, and it became too much too quick. Where if we had about 18 people or so, it makes it easier to have 3 groups of 6 and then designate a leader to look out for that 6. designated a leader to look out for that 6, a designated leader to look out for that 6, and now I'm not looking at 18 people individually, I'm now talking to 3. That changes my communication of what I need to do and check in and times I need to do that, and then I can maintain a bigger picture. So that actually helps me be a better leader. But if I don't delegate and I try to micromanage, I lose focus on the big picture, or as people that I read, like Jocko Willink, I can't see like the maze. So therefore I can't effectively lead my team. Big learning for me. Movement complete. Gives us a different perspective. I love these movements for all the things that you have to take in consideration while you're moving from one place to the other. Think military does this on a regular basis. That's just a basic thing that they do, and I'm already talking about all this delegation of responsibilities and safety and all the logistics on just moving in a civilian environment during daylight hours. I mean, normally these tops go overnight, so you don't have to deal with them, but no, we dealt with daylight traffic and people and still had issues. And it was like in the 40-degree weather, as compared to the military. We weren't carrying like hundreds of pounds of ammo. Our movements in comparison to them, especially the ones in the Battle of Bulge, is a lot less. It's only a few miles as opposed to like 100. And of course the biggest one is nobody's shooting at us. I mean, we didn't walk into North Philly or too deep in the West, but nobody's actively trying to shoot at us. Like, our life isn't at stake. So gaining that perspective starts giving you a different respect for military people in general, but also what they went through at the Battle of the Bulge. So we reached a new location, and it's like a little bit of a win. You were able to take a group of people from point A to point B, assess them, get there within a certain period of time with added weight. And that's like a little bit of a win, especially if you do it underneath the time. If you don't do it underneath the time, that's just more PT. That just sucks. So try to get it on the time. But then this is where you get to a new place, and for us, the Cadre Hot Mike, he started sharing more of what that meant in Battle of the Bulge timeline and what that meant for those initial people. You continued to do PT and you continued to do team building, but then using the specialty that the Special Forces person, this is why I loved that GoRuck having Special Forces people, they have their own personal experience that they can relate with the Battle of the Bulge, and then have you do it, so then you gain experience from what the Cadre has physically done in their life. So you no longer are you like reading a history book, you're looking at a person that respects history because they've done it as well. I think that's stinking awesome. I really do. And once again, you gain a different perspective and appreciation, especially for the people you're looking at face to face. Now, I'm prior military, I've done certain things as well, and when you start realizing this is what people do to secure our freedoms here in the United States of America, and when you come out to appreciate that, you don't just sit there and shake veterans' hands at either Memorial Day or Veterans Day or something like that, and that's really simple. No, when you come out and you sweat and you feel a level of pain to try to gain a different level of perspective, you have a vested interest in learning that, or you will learn it one way or the other. It's a little different. I'm not knocking people that don't do this, but I think you understand what I'm saying. And then you do some more drills and things that help you grow and learn. And you keep on doing movements and learning and sharing stories about what you've learned, Battle of the Bulge, that you study on your own. You share that with your class, and that part's really cool. And then, since this event, it's a tough light where the tough class starts and goes up to a certain time, but then you pick up the light class and then you all move forward together. After we got done with these movements and these learnings and PT and these stories and things like that, then it's our time to come back and get the light class. And this is to simulate, I want to say it's like the 101st Airborne or so. I think that's stuck on my mind. I might be a little bit wrong, but it's supposed to simulate the reinforcements that came for the Battle of the Bulge. And this is interesting for its own purposes, because you're learning a lot in a short period of time. I mean, this event is 12 hours long-ish, but you already start seeing little changes in people. So we get back to the place where we were going to go pick up the light event people, and it was back at the art museum, right? So we had to go somewhere and then come back to the art museum. When we came back to the art museum, we of course smelled a little different, we looked a little different, we were a lot dirtier, and we have been through something as an initial group together. So our camaraderie and even our humor was different. And as we came walking up to the art museum stairs at like 12 something or 1 o'clock in the afternoon with all the tourists there, you better believe they looked at us like, what the heck is going on? The light class also, knowing that they're there to join up with us, like, what did they go through? Because they're pretty dirty, and they look a little different. They look a little grizzled. It's only been about 6 hours or so, but they look a little different than we do. We are a lot fresher. It's different. Tourists taking pictures like you're in the zoo or so. You're supposed to come together and be one class now. But you can only imagine, since one class has been through a little bit more, you do get that senioritis kind of thing, like this is what we've been through before you guys were woken up today and all so like, yeah, I get it. But that's natural. Understand that that exists, that experience, even 6 hour difference exists. Use it to your advantage. Allow for it. You will see some people either try to hold it over people. I'm not going to say in these events, but just in life in general. Where you see other people say, hey, look, we went through this in these 6 hours. Let me get you up to speed so then when we go forward, you gain some of the experience and knowledge that we gain, and then we can go forward together stronger for the next 6 hours together. We take another movement after we do some stuff, art museum, and we have another welcome party. Because the light class isn't going to get off too easy. It's going to be a little bit easier than the tough one, but still another one so we can, once again, show the cadre what he's dealing with, show each other what we're dealing with, who we're picking up, but also we had people drop tough and light class at the second welcome party. And that's significant. It really is. Once again, I am not knocking anybody that drops, because they paid their money to show up and try to test themselves and challenge themselves. And they found their perceived limit at the time. I hope to see them again. But it's significant to try to test yourself and not meet your own standard and know that you have some work to do. And now what you do with that is up to you. Like I said, I hope those individuals train more and harder, and I hope to see them again, be it on the light, tough, or whatever. Some of the people in the light class looked up to some of the people in the tough class, especially during the welcome party, because we've already been through one that was going to be harder anyway. Like, we walked past the telephone pole we picked up. We didn't have to pick that up with the light welcome party. But you better believe everybody in the tough that walked over the telephone pole looked at it like, yeah, I'd love to just smack you, you know, like I know what I went through dealing with you with this. So it's a little different. So the light was like, oh, these guys are built a little tougher for what they've done. We had some tough guys in light. This is some of the first events they've done. I'm not saying they were a bunch of wusses. That was significant. Then we did a significant movement to another area again, and like I was saying before, this is for all the reasons I said before, our learning, but also how well are we able to transfer the knowledge and experience that we gain on our movements in the first 6 hours to new people? Like, is it something that we just hold over people saying we're better than you in this? No, because if we do that and the team doesn't move together well, we still all fail because these movements are timed. So it's imperative for us to pass information for the benefit of the team, because nobody signed up to fail. You have to believe that in your heart. You get over that stuff really quick when you have weight on your back and you're doing PT because you haven't met the mark, because you've been selfish with your resources, whether it's knowledge or water or your experience, whatever it might be. You get to a new location with the combined team and you do more teamwork activities that requires PT as well. It's not easy. But I wrote here, applied and deliberate teamwork. I mean, these exercises that they have us doing, it's a deliberate function to pull people together as a team. And to be clear that it's not supposed to be easy. I even know that when we were trying to do our PT before, we were breaking it up a little nicer for the light people. And the Cadre is simple, like, this isn't supposed to be comfort time. You're supposed to be pushing yourself. I know light class show up, it's not supposed to change things that much. Right? So either you push yourself and push each other, or I'm gonna push you. And you don't want that, especially from Hot Mike or Cleve or all these other people that you will run into. You don't want that from those people. You want to manage each other, because if they manage you, it gets worse. It helps you reinforce your learnings from what you did for the first half, especially when you're teaching second half people. And for the people that did tough, you learn more in different skills. For the light people, you learn some skills as well, and we pass on. This is what we did in first half, which then also improves the teamwork and leadership. And that's important for the team to be successful. I said before, it's not good if you just have one leader. You need multiple leaders. You need to delegate responsibility. You need to understand that that responsibility is up to you if you're part of the team. Now, yeah, you can't have all chiefs and no Indians per se. That's the phrase. But you need to see where certain gaps are and be very deliberate about developing that teamwork for the benefit of the team. Otherwise, you'll fail. Keep doing movements and PT. There's all sorts of stuff you do to build up what the purpose of all this is, and you go through now the beginning, middle, coming up to the conclusions, the end of what the Battle of Bulge, and you start to understand in a small little way what their mentality was. Even when you talk about the 84 people that were killed, the POWs that were just killed, and then that set a fire in the Americans' hearts, where when the Germans had a city surrounded, they sent a message in saying, hey, you're surrounded, you might as well surrender. And then the mentality of the Americans were with each other. The Germans just wrote us a letter saying that we're surrounded, pour them. Like, think about, like, you're in a situation where you're completely surrounded and you're having pity on them. Like, that shows that you're all in. I like that. I do. And you only know how you're going to respond when you're in those situations. I hope I would respond the same way in a situation like that. It's kind of cool, especially if you survive it. That's something you can tell your kids. But then, moving on to the conclusion of this event. Of course, yeah, we did finish back up at the Art Museum stairs. The sun was setting, if not already set. And knowing that it was at the end, looking at the faces of accomplishment of both classes, the tough and the light, and how we came together, stuff like that is priceless. Any of these events that I've done, the journey is definitely something fun, but then that end smile that you see from people, that end sigh of relief saying, hey look, we got through this together, it's very special. I remember the ending of every one of these that I've done so far, and I'm looking forward to more in the future. And then we receive, think about it, you do all this stuff and you get a patch like this size. It's what, like 3 by 5, or I don't know what the size is, 2 by 3, I don't know, some small size. But you do all that and you get this patch. Like I have these other ones here that I'll show you that I've done. And that's it. Like the kind of cool thing about it is you don't need all these big trophies and all this other stuff to be bragging to other people. It's just something small, a little token to say, hey look, you guys went through this together. That's special. It really is. And as the cadre comes by and passes it to you and looks you straight in the face, there's things that are said with a look that is not needed to even be said with words. Where he's been watching you for the last, in this case, 12 hours. And he knows there's things that you've done well, there's things that you need to work on, but you have volunteered to try to gain a different perspective and push yourself past your own perceived limits. And it was his job to do it. And you gain a respect for him for pushing you to those places. I love, and one of the reasons why I didn't want to procrastinate on a video like this is because it's so interesting to look around at the class when it's all done and seeing who completed. You have a diverse group. And it's not just something you hear on the news and people. No, these are all different people that choose to be around each other. I'm talking about black people, white people, Asian, Hispanic, you name it. They're all there. We have people from Virginia and Maryland and New York and of course PA. You had all people from all sorts of places. They were there. You had attorneys and engineers and firemen, and teachers and artists and military people. You had all them different types of surgeons. You had all sorts of people there. And you would never guess it because we're all just dirty together. You had men and women there together. You had military and civilian. All of us together. In a time where it's easy to divide people up and get in all little, this is what it's supposed to be. And it was. That was our reality for Saturday. We became friends with each other during this time. Anytime you go through a significant pain with another person, even if you normally wouldn't find yourself hanging out with them or whatever like that, there's a certain level of friendship you just build. And we all went to the Urban Saloon afterwards. It's up near the Eastern State Penitentiary thing that they do, Halloween. Give a shout out to that because, look, we showed up, a lot of us showed up like muddy and all that stuff, and they welcomed us right in. I felt right at home. I had a burger while I was there, a couple drinks, and we just simply sat there, shared drinks, food, stories, and laughs. You better believe we joked about the telephone pole. You better believe that we joked about some of the bathroom breaks that we had to take in the middle of the day. You better believe we joked about dog poo I found myself laying in when I had to drop down during a team building event. Didn't realize it until I was like, what is that? And it was gross, but I had to get over it. I couldn't I can't do this. No, like you better believe we joked about that stuff as well. Events that we've done in the past and things we've seen before. Mark, I'm going to keep your sand story out of this, your beach story, and then also events that we plan on doing in the future. And I definitely hope to see these people again. Some I've seen other events and some of them are new, and I hope, like especially my Allentown guys up there, you showed lots of heart. I very much enjoy running into and meeting you, and I hope you do get hooked just like I did and do more events because you were definitely plus. Even like Little Chuck as well, I thought he was a pretty cool guy. I do hope to develop a level of training from this, me personally, because I did see some people drop. And I've said it a couple times, I'll say it again, I'm not going to make fun of them, but I want to allow for my city to help develop people to be tougher, to get through these things, because this is relevant in life. Some people dropped, some people didn't perform like they want to, or some people want to prepare for like a heavy or an HTL or a star course or something. I'm thinking about it. I don't want to overcommit, but I definitely would love to develop a Philadelphia training program. So when you're doing something here, you're a little bit more versed in Philadelphia events, but then you're also prepared to go do like the 9/11 that they do up in New York City, or they do other events in DC, or they do these events all across the world. So be more prepared to do those. I do want to go over finally, and this is going to be my ending, my specific learnings, more than just what I said through what the event was. One of them is gear matters. The Pelican book bag that I use, I'm not going to say it's a garbage book bag. It was not the right gear for this event. And it hurt me because I wasn't wearing the right stuff. It was a hard case, which means not only was it hitting me in the head, and I have scars on my head and the back, I won't show you, but it sucks. Along with if I had to carry other people, it was not comfortable for them as well. It hurt them. It was not the right equipment. Along with, I thought my water bladder that I got from Walmart, I initially said that it was junk. I was blaming it for not working as intended. Found out it was actually my backpack, and how I even stored my stuff was keeping me from drinking the water that was still in it at the end of the event. It didn't puncture. Yeah, it might not be the most expensive thing, and some things were a little misaligned, but that was kind of up to me. So the gear that I used mattered. I also wore these Keens that I now wear hiking, and those worked out very well. And I didn't have a significant waist strap, which I could have used, which would save my back a little bit. So gear matters. Properly train every time. I rested on the fact that I did a heavy and a star course last year. I didn't use that much water during the star course, and I got through a heavy. So of course, the tough was going to be easy. Not the case. Have respect for every event that you do. Train for every event and treat all of them separately, individually, just like you're supposed to do with every individual. You can't look at an individual and see that they're black, white, or Hispanic, or something, that they have a certain religion, that they have you can't just size them. You have to pay attention to every individual, every situation, and give it its own respect. I suffered because I did not give this tough its proper respect, which means I didn't even bring any food whatsoever, which means I was taking from other people's resources when they politely offered it, but it shouldn't even have been an issue. So, and also training. I worked more on upper body. I should have worked a lot more lower body, because my legs in a tough started like giving out on me. I'm like, what is this? Like, I've done way much more than this. Why is this happening? Well, I kind of abandoned a leg workout, which affected me, and I even feel it right now, because if you don't do your legs right, you don't do your back right. Yeah, I feel that as I'm doing this video right now. Not smart. Properly diet, of course. A little funny, but true. You have to make sure that you don't have to take a dump in the middle of this. You have to properly eat, okay? And prepare your body so you don't become a liability when you're trying to move. I'm not saying that happened to me, but some people had to use baby wipes. That's all I'm going to say. There's no room for overconfidence. That's part of what I'm saying. Give every event, every situation, every person their proper respect. I grew the most when I was willing to shut up and learn. Cadre is there for a reason, because they have a lot of experience that you paid to learn from. So I'm not saying that I necessarily did this, but being in Philadelphia, I felt that there's a lot of stuff that I would immediately know, and I found out how little I knew. Even being prior military, even doing some of these things, there's things that I needed to learn from, and I learned a lot because I was able just to listen to hot mic. More of a positive, my energy in the right setting can be encouraging. There's a time and place to turn it up. Just like there's a time and place to be talking, there's a time and place to be sharing. there's times where people need to be encouraged, need to be boosted up, and yes, I can provide that, but also there's times where that's not the case. There's times just you need to set in, just get this thing done. So I understand that might be a skill of mine, and I need to learn when to use that appropriately for the benefit of the team, not just so I can just feel good about myself. And last, for my learning, is I have a responsibility, I believe, to help others. You know, I've been through a couple of these events. There's things that I've learned that I want to share, and it's one of the reasons why I'm doing this video. And then through some of these learnings that I've shared in this, I think it's just applicable to life in general. And I think this is one of the core building blocks that can be used to build stronger communities. Especially younger people that think that they're bigger than the world anyway. You know, carry a telephone pole and see what all that talk does. Okay? Try to lead a group of people and understand where they're coming from, and try to be led and give your input to somebody. Try to matter and allow for other people to matter, and then figure out what your role is on a team, and then do it. And care more about the team, or in this case, the city of Philadelphia, than you do yourself. It changes your perspective. So that being said, I feel a greater responsibility to pass on these learnings and share with others, because I want my city to be the best and the people that live there. And I don't want to settle. I want to keep pushing the envelope and see where that ends us together as a family. I want to say thank you to Cadre, Hot Mike. You helped me learn, you helped me grow. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you, GoRuck, for having these events, and I support it as of now with my money and with my time and my resources, and with these videos. I hope it encourages other people to sign up and be up for the challenge. And I want to thank all that attended the Tough Class 2945 and Light Class 3000. Every person I had interaction with, I grew that much more positively one way or the other. That's my choice, and I chose to look at every individual that way, including the people that dropped. I'm going to allow for that to positively affect my life and my journey. And like I said before, I hope to see you all again, maybe in Philadelphia or maybe another city, and then continue to grow in these events, but then also figure out what we need to do to grow our small communities, our cities, our states, our country, and this world to be better, tougher, more compassionate, but willing to do something bigger than ourselves. Push the limit. So, this is the AAR February 16th, 2019 Philadelphia Battle of the Bulge. Leave your comments, questions, what it might be. I'll be sure to try to answer them, and I'm looking forward to the next event. Have a blessed day.